Country Living, page 8. There are reasons why we should not build in the cities. On these cities, God's judgments are soon to fall. And we see this. We're being warned. God's judgments are coming to the wicked cities because that's where wickedness is centralized, is in these cities. That's why we have an out of the cities message. And this is in Revelation. It warns us about this, that there's a time coming, there's calamities coming, and we should be in the country places so that we are away from these calamities that are coming. The time is near when large cities will be swept away, and all should be warned of these coming judgments. That's what we're trying to do, is warn people of these judgments. We've been talking about this for a while, but sometimes until there's an experience that people are seeing, wow, the power, the intensity, and the severity of these judgments is getting more and more and more, do they start to wake up? Oh, that God's people had a sense of the impending destruction of thousands of cities, now almost given to idolatry. While appearing to the children of men a great physician who can heal all their maladies, this is talking about Satan in the great controversy. He will bring disease and disaster until populous cities are reduced to ruin and desolation. Even now, he is at work in accidents and calamities by sea and by land, in great conflagrations, in fierce tornadoes, and terrific hailstorms, in tempests, floods, cyclones, which are hurricanes, tidal waves, and earthquakes in every place and in a thousand forms. Satan is exercising his power. And there's been discussion on what is causing these terrible hurricanes right now. Is it natural? Is it not natural? Is there something else being involved? And the thing is, what is causing them, or who is actually getting their fingers involved, is not the main point. The main point is that God doesn't allow anything to happen unless it's according to his will. And the fact that we're seeing these things allowed to take place is connected to the judgments of God, because he is allowing this destruction to happen. Asking, what if you can't get out of the small cities to move to the country? And this, I think, is one of the biggest concerns about people and that people have is, well, what if I can't get into the country? What if I can't leave the city? What does that mean? Now, in order to answer this, again, I like to go to statements, because I don't want you just listening to me. I want this to be something from the Bible and something from the spirit of prophecy. So give me a moment to pull up this quote. And this is going to hopefully answer this very well. And you can find this in the little book called Country Living. Let me share my screen again. And it says, parents can secure small homes in the country with the land for cultivation, where they can have orchards and where they can raise vegetables and small fruits to take the place of flesh meat, which is so corrupting to the lifeblood coursing through the veins. On such places, the children will not be surrounded with the corrupting influence of city life. God will help his people to find such homes outside the cities. God will help his people. This we need to get into our mind, and we need to have faith that God can move mountains for us. When he asks something of us, he doesn't ask without giving us the power to actually do this thing. Now, if we look back at the Old Testament with Noah, he was told there's a storm coming. And Mrs. White says, there's a storm coming, relentless in its fury. Are we prepared to meet it? And this is the storm of the coming Sunday law. If Noah did not obey the instruction of God to start building a boat, Noah wasn't a boat builder. Definitely not for such a crazy storm as what hit the earth and destroyed the entire world. But he put his faith in what God said was going to happen. And he started moving forward. And he started doing things. He started getting the wood ready. He started cutting some beams. And he started whatever he did. It says that Noah put all that he had, all his possessions, all his monetary ability into the ark. And that is what God was able to use in order to save him. Now, when God says, you need to leave the cities because I'm bringing judgments on the cities, I don't want you to be destroyed and affected by these judgments that are not meant for you. These are rewards for other people who have sown evil. That means we need to be physically away from these places. And you may not know how. You may be in debt. You may not, you might be a single parent. You might have all these pressures that you have no idea even how to even start. Pray. Start to pray. And God will help his people. We can't say, well, he'll help someone, but he won't help someone else. No, he helps all to find such homes outside the cities. This is a message for all of God's people. We even have these animals who had to get on the ark in order to be saved. So we need to be obedient to God, even if it seems impossible. Step in the water and see him part the way. And I've said this story before, but it was incredible to me that there was a lady who really felt this is what God wanted. Now, we know this is because he's telling us this is what he wants. And she didn't have any money. She sold everything she had, and she had $12,000 or so. And everything she had fit in her car. And she just started driving. And I believe she was leaving Florida, if I'm correct. So she started leaving, and she was looking at properties. I'm going to shorten the story. And God was impressing her. This one property was for her, but the person wasn't selling it yet. And she said, hey, are you selling this property? Actually, I believe it was $11,000. And she said, I have $11,000 that I'll give you for this property. And it was a brand new house being built. And the person just laughs at her and says, I could sell this right now as it is for $350,000 or $400,000 or whatever it is. And she said, okay, well, keep my number. A week later, she gets a call. And the guy says, do you have $11,000? And she said, yes, I do. And he said, my accountant did some banking mistakes. And if I don't have $11,000 by tomorrow to the bank, they will repossess all of my properties. So losing one for the $11,000 you have is much better than losing all. And this is how God works. Now, not everybody's going to have a miracle story like this. Everybody has a different journey, but we need to understand that God does these things today. He does them today. That story doesn't end there. She then needed to finish the house, and she didn't have the money. She was praying, and God gave her a dream of this store, and she looked it up, and it's in another state even, and she said, you know what? I believe I should go there. So she asked her friend, they drove out there, and she said, can I speak to the owner? And the owner comes out and says, I've been waiting for you. I had a dream that you're coming. And that person gave her everything to finish her house and installed it completely for free. This is the types of stories we need to be having often, because people are stepping into the Jordan and waiting for God to part the waters and just moving forward, giving a good report like Jacob and Caleb. We can take Canaan. We need to say it's doable because God told us, And God, anything is possible. So I hope that's an encouragement to you, because God will help all of us in order to get ready for this crisis. And He's just needing us to be willing.